And we'll see. It's going to get wet and wild.
Well, that's what they're saying.
Severe
We'll
showers, thunderstorms, winds, possible tornadoes in the area. I mean,
2-inch hail is a possibility, too. That's what I was seeing. That scares me. After watching those videos from Nebraska, where there are cars and siding and windows, and it was like, oh.
Yeah, so this is all happening later on today. We will, of course, keep an eye on it. But for right now, we're dry in our area.
It's cloudy.
Up near 80, though.
Yeah, I know. That's the warm temperature, and then this...
And then dropping off tomorrow after the showers and thunderstorms roll through the area. It looks like a high of just about 60 tomorrow. We got a lot to get to on a Monday edition of the show. Bad news, happy music, the friggin' sports, a weekend recap. Very busy weekend for yours truly.
It was busy all around, wasn't it? I mean, busy, lots of
people.
sports, lots of stuff. Yeah.
So
lots of proms, lots of things.
A lot of things going on. Going to talk about organizing your fridge, one of your favorite subjects.
I love this.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Talk about that. Also, what age do your bad habits catch up with you?
Got it.
Apparently, there's been some science on that. If you need something, rockmornings.com for all of our contact info. You can listen to the show live on the website. You can also check out our daily podcast. Give it a like and subscribe, and you can register to win prizes as well. Short week for me. I'm here today and tomorrow, and then I'm off to Nashville to see Metallica.
You packed?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
No. I won't pack till tomorrow. I don't. I'm a guy.
It's a backpack.
Some underwear and some socks and some T-shirts, and I'm good. You know what I mean? I could wear the same pair of shorts all 4 days. I don't give a rat's ass. My wife, however, keeping her eye on the weather. Apparently, it's going to be in the mid-80s, so it's going to be much warmer.
The temperature and
Yeah,
different clothes, different shoes, different stuff.
My wife actually told me yesterday, apparently sundresses are going to make an appearance. And my wife, in all the years I've known her, maybe once, twice, has worn a sundress.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what sundresses are for? And she said, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
And I said, all right, well, it's a business trip then. All right. I didn't realize it was a business trip. I thought we were going on vacation. No, we're not trying to get pregnant. That is not happening. We still have people asking us about that. And I'm going to be 49 this year.
You're not starting off with a baby?
Well, no. We've been married for 12 years, and there's still people that are asking. And I'm like, no, that's never going to happen, ever. I'm almost 50. I want to be the old guy at a baseball game? Oh, it's nice that your grandfather brought you. No, that's actually my dad. No, it's never going to happen.
Congratulations to my next-door neighbors, by the way. They just had their baby boy 4 days ago and brought him home.
Everybody's good, I'm assuming,
everybody's
then?
good and so tiny. Congratulations. Good job.
Got some Green Day, and speaking of Metallica, we'll hear from them in just a bit as well. Don't go anywhere.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
Big news out of the state of Wisconsin was on Friday, obviously, with that judge getting arrested. Governor Tony Evers releasing a statement regarding the arrest of a Milwaukee County judge, saying, quote, in this country, people who are suspected of criminal wrongdoing are innocent until their guilt is proven beyond reasonable doubt, and they are found guilty by a jury of their peers. This is the fundamental demand of justice in America. Unfortunately, we have seen in recent months the president and the Trump administration repeatedly use dangerous rhetoric to attack and attempt to undermine our judiciary at every level, including flat out disobeying the highest court in the land and threatening to impeach and remove judges who do not rule in their favor. He said some other stuff as well, but obviously that judge was taken into custody by federal agents after she helped an illegal immigrant escape, essentially, for a brief period of time down a hallway, I guess. But we'll see what happens there. They're talking maybe 6 years in prison for her. That was huge news on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they did take the man into custody.
Yeah, they got him eventually. The focus, of course, today in our area throughout the state of Wisconsin, I mean, if you look, especially anywhere from Minneapolis through Eau Claire, La Crosse, all the way down to Dubuque, Waterloo, Mason City, Mankato, we're talking sort of an egg shape that goes all the way from Des Moines to kind of the Eau Claire area and all the surrounding parts. It's going to be these strong and severe storms developing. sometime this afternoon and continuing through the evening and the overnight.
Yeah, there's some scattered thunderstorms even in Eau Claire's forecast as of 10 o'clock this morning, again at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Some scattered strong storms, by the way. Wind picks up about 5 o'clock tonight, and then we just keep watching, I think.
The main chances for severe weather in the late afternoon through the evening of tonight. Yeah, maybe some hail, some strong winds, obviously, and a possibility of a tornado, which we don't usually see here in the Midwest.
But also warm temperatures climbing into the upper 70s by this afternoon.
Elsewhere in the state of Wisconsin, a dispute over loud music ended with a well-known dentist being killed inside his apartment building. Kiana McGowan in court on Thursday, charged with gunning down her neighbor, Dr.
Oh, my gosh.
Akintude Bowden, after he allegedly asked her to turn down her music on April 19th. So just a week ago. 27-year-old inside her northern Milwaukee apartment listening to some music when she heard a banging on her front door. McGowan told police she witnessed Bowden acting aggressively and believed that he was intoxicated. She allegedly opened her door and agreed to lower the volume of her music, but those assurances reportedly did not de-escalate the situation. McGowan closed the door, but Bowden apparently kicked it in. She allegedly grabbed a gun, reopened the door, and fired at him when he tried to kick again. McGowan reportedly outside her apartment building screaming, "He's in my house, number 207." When the Brown Deer Police Department officers arrived, authorities discovered him laying face down in her doorway, pronounced him dead at the scene.
Wow.
Dentist dying from a single gunshot wound to his lower abdomen. According to the autopsy conducted by the Milwaukee County Medical Office, McGowan charged with second-degree reckless homicide with use of a dangerous weapon. Preliminary hearing scheduled for May 5th. So,
oof.
Yeah.
Over some loud music?
Yeah. Obviously, though, if he's acting aggressively and kicking her door in and she felt that she was in danger for her life, then, yeah, you know. Deadly vehicle incident at a festival in Vancouver over the weekend. A man has now been charged with murder.
Is it 10 people?
11 people. 5-year-old was one of the people that died. At least 20 other people injured after a car plowed into a crowd at a Lapu Lapu Day festival. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. This was on Saturday night. Kai G. Adam Lowe, charged with 8 counts of second-degree murder. Earlier, the city's interim police chief, Steve Ray, said the man arrested over the incident was known to law enforcement and mental health professionals before the incident. They said that the man in custody had a significant history of interactions with police and healthcare professionals related to mental health. As police remained confident the incident was not an act of terrorism, he called the incident, quote, the darkest day in Vancouver's history, said it would be a watershed moment for operational changes in the city's police department. And this is no different than many stories in our country where you have people that are escalating and constantly having run-ins with the police and people in town know about them. And, I mean, the kid that got killed at the bar here in downtown La Crosse several years ago, there was no shortage of incidents with that guy downtown. You ask anybody that works down here or
aware of him,
had known him, had had incidents and run-ins, and look, I'm not saying that every guy out there or every girl out there that's having problems and mental health issues is going to shoot somebody dead, but it's just one of these things where it's like, he was on the radar, and
right,
and now it's like 11 people are dead, and what could we have done better to stop that from happening? Without obviously taking away people's rights and all that stuff. But it's just sad. Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll get to sports in a couple of minutes. Got some Metallica on the way as well. If you need something, you can find us online at rockmornings.com. Kind of cloudy.
Yeah, it sure is.
To start the day, kind of gloomy, but severe storms moving into the area sometime later on this afternoon and continuing through the afternoon, evening, and the overnights. Heavy winds, lots of rain, some hail possible.
All of the things possible. We don't really know. I do know that it's going to be warmer. It's going to feel humid because we are in front of that storm system, and then we'll just have to see what happens.
I might have to go home and turn my AC on and get the house nice and cool. In case the power goes out, then it'll stay cool during the overnight, so I won't.
Well, it's a good test. Remember, you're supposed to test it anyway to see.
Won't die from the heat.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Oh, man. This Thursday and Saturday nights, Nashville, Tennessee lookout. Metallica. the M72 World Tour. Wife and I leaving Wednesday morning, very early, heading down to Nashville. Get checked into the hotel Wednesday afternoon and then make our way downtown. The bright lights. Maybe try to run into our friends from Wayland. Check out all the bars. Thursday nights. Suicidal Tendencies, Pantera, Metallica. And then on Friday, there's like a Q&A thing with Kirk Hammett and a guitar manufacturer and some of his custom pieces, and he brings them in and talks about them. And
that's at Country Music Hall of Fame, though, right?
I think so, yeah. And then on Saturday, the Metallica show is the openers are Ice Nine Kills and Limp Bizkit, and my wife is very excited for Limp Bizkit. She's never seen them before. It's been a number of years, obviously, since I've seen them, but we also we got much like the Resch Center at Lambeau. They've got a pregame like tailgate party before the concert.
Oh, really?
And it's from 3 until 6. And it was $75 per person, but it's like unlimited food and beverages. So I don't know exactly what the beverage options are. I'm sure it's just going to be crappy beer that I don't really want to drink. But if I can save myself some money, by not spending it inside the stadium.
I would imagine, because you can just go up and get refilled there and get your pregame on, too.
But yeah, so we
get
bought
some merch. Are you going to get some merch?
Yeah, there's pop-up shops, obviously, all throughout the weekend. So we're going to take advantage of that stuff and obviously try to hit up some of the local bars and breweries and restaurants. But yeah, we leave bright and early Wednesday morning. Looking forward to it. Can't wait. Brew Crew lost to the Cardinals on Friday 3-2, and then they lost again on Saturday 6-5. They broke their 4-game losing streak yesterday with a 7-1 win.
Phoenix pitch. Reached out, poked to third. Durbin's got it. Throws out Donovan.
And the Brewers have salvaged a game out of this series with a 7-1 victory on this Sunday afternoon in St. Louis.
Brew Crew off today. They are in Chicago tomorrow night at 6:40 for the first of 3 against the White Sox. In the NBA yesterday, the Knicks with a commanding 3-1 series lead on the Pistons thanks to a 94-93 win. The T-Wolves also went up 3-1 in their series against the Lakers thanks to a 116-113 win. Celtics, they struggled, but they ended up with the win over Orlando, 107-98. They're up 3-1 as well. And the Pacers also taking a 3-1 series lead on the Bucks, 129-103, the final score there.
And the Pacers go wire to wire to take complete control of this series. 129-103, the final in Game 4. Indiana up 3-1.
Big news out of that game, though, is Damian Lillard. He's going to undergo an MRI sometime later today to determine the severity of a lower left leg injury that forced him to exit the game sometime in the first quarter. Preliminary indications are that it's an Achilles tendon injury.
Oh, my God.
Doc Rivers, the head coach, in the post-game press conference said, quote, "Just being honest, it's not very promising."
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, not what you want to hear. Wow, they're down 3-1, and look, they need a miracle, and they're probably not going to get it. But
well, I know, but that guy just recovered.
Yeah. In the NBA tonight, Cleveland is at Miami at 6:30 on TNT and True TV for Game 4 of that series. The Cavs are up 3-0 and can sweep Miami right out of the playoffs with a win tonight. Houston is at Golden State in the late game, 9 p.m. on TNT and True TV. That's Game 4 of that series. Warriors up 2-1 over in the NHL yesterday. The Blues knotted up their series with the Jets at 2 apiece thanks to a 5-1 win. Carolina went up 3-1 on New Jersey with a 5-2 victory. Washington over Montreal 5-2. They take a 3-1 series lead. And Edmonton tying up their series with the Kings at 2 apiece thanks to a 4-3 overtime win.
Harry taken down. McDavid with the puck. To the goal line, Leon Draisaitl. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is there. Pass down low, redirect, and kick that rebound, score! Draisaitl! The comeback Oilers do it again, and this series is tied up at 2.
Yeah, nice little overtime hockey win there for Edmonton over the Kings. Tonight, Tampa Bay, Florida, 6 p.m. ESPN, Game 4 of that series. Panthers up 2-1. And then Colorado at Dallas, 8:30 on ESPN for Game 5 of that series, which is tied up at 2 games apiece. More sports later on. Bad news, happy music. Daily check-ins. Shoot us emails, text messages. Let us know what you're up to.
So our area, it might be later this afternoon and into this evening before we see the real potentially dangerous stuff. But we're in this level 4 section, that egg shape that you were talking about. So widespread, long-lived, intense, strong, could potentially have tornadoes, widespread wind damage, and then that large hail. So we're just going to have to wait and see, I guess.
I'm excited to watch it. I got to be honest. I'm looking forward to seeing it happen.
No. No thanks.
We'll get to music from Volbeat in a couple of minutes.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
And now, a woman's thoughts while at the smoothie place.
Wow, this smoothie place is busy. 10 customers and me waiting for a smoothie, only 2 girls working, and only 1 blender on the go. This is going to be a while. Are those oranges in the plexiglass all show, or do they actually use them? They never grab one. And they always ask me which free energy supplement I want added. Antioxidant, calcium, probiotic. They ought to just call it fairy dust because I don't see that girl scooping anything extra in the blender. And that other girl isn't doing a very thorough job cleaning those dirty blenders. I hope I don't get mold in my airy dairy very berry. Good thing I asked for the immune support boost.
And that was a woman's thoughts while at the smoothie place.
A lot going on up there. Airy, dairy, very berry. Excuse me. It's Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. The Voice on NBC tonight. Sheryl Crow, Leanne Rimes advising the remaining contestants as they prepare for the playoffs. American Idol tonight on ABC. Iconic Idol moments. Is that of all time or just while they've been on ABC?
Just this season.
Or just this season?
I don't know.
Have they had iconic moments already during this season?
Well, maybe.
Maybe? All right. Also, the series premiere of America's Most Wanted Missing Persons. That's on Fox. A new version of the show focusing on trying to analyze missing person cases to bring closure.
That's awesome. And when they
families.
can really actually solve them and get tips and stuff that lead to them, that's great.
Also, the first season finale of Papa's House over on CBS. The actual reboot of America's Most Wanted on Fox tonight with Little John as the guest. Yay. Fourth season finale of NCIS Origins, and also a new series on NBC called Yes, Chef. 12 chefs are forced to confront their own egos by working in teams to prepare a 4-course meal for judges Martha Stewart and Jose Andres. Hopefully overcome their tempers and stubbornness issues in the
Cooked by
process.
chefs. Yes, please.
Late night shows, Anna Kendrick and Role Model going to be on with Fallon. Kimmel's talking to the stars of the new Thunderbolts movie, which comes out this Friday. David Harbour, Sebastian Stan, Florence Pugh, Wyatt Russell. And he's also got Billy Idol and Avril Lavigne as his musical guests.
Should be all new this week because they were all kind of off last week.
Yeah. Wanda Sykes and Cole Escola going to be on with Colbert. Adam Levine and Martha Stewart going to be on with Seth Meyers. I'm sure she'll be on there talking about this new show, Yes, Chef. See the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees of the nominees?
I did not.
So Fish, who won the fan vote, and I was complaining because I hate Fish. They didn't make it in, even though they won the fan vote.
They'll, I would assume, be in at some point.
Yeah, they announced it on American Idol last night, which I didn't realize was a thing. But the performers category, Bad Company, Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, Cyndi Lauper, Outkast, Soundgarden, and the White Stripes. Salt and Peppa, along with Warren Zevon, inducted into the musical influence category. Also some other people that you'd never heard of, musical excellence category, singer-songwriter, producers, stuff like that. Snubs, obviously. Fish won the fan vote last week with 330,000 votes. Bad Company came in second. Billy Idol followed in third, but Fish didn't get in. Bad Company did. The fan vote doesn't apparently have a ton of influence as to who makes the hall. It counts for a single ballot among roughly 1,200 that are cast. So, yeah, you may have been like, oh, yay, my favorite band Fish is going in. And then they're like, no, not really.
Thanks for your vote, but no. We'll decide. Thank you.
Still a cool look. I get it. It's not truly rock and roll in there anymore. It hasn't been for a long, long time, but it's still a really cool thing to go and see.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I just went to the Country Music Hall of Fame.
All the memorabilia.
And that's a wide swath if you want. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that I would, for instance, where do you put Tom Petty? He was in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So...
Yeah.
And you can't say Nashville without Elvis, but is Elvis country?
Right.
So it's all kind of fluid like that.
Foo Fighters now with These Days. It's Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Foo Fighters with These Days on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Clouds and some severe weather making its way into our area later on this afternoon, continuing into the evening and the overnights. Severe storms. We're talking hail. We're talking heavy winds, lots of rain, maybe some tornadoes.
Possibly all of this is possible, right? So we've got some storms that can move through this afternoon. The wind, I think, is going to pick up in the early afternoon. And then we'll just have to watch as, it all happens and see where we're at. But we are in that extreme weather area where the potential is for sure there.
Do you remember who, what was it, Susie or Cynthia Plastercaster? Remember her? She made all the plaster casts of rock stars' wieners.
Yes.
And kind of was like a well-known groupie.
Yes, accepted into the inner folds of
right.
all the music scene back in the time.
And kind of became a famous person because of being a groupie. Mm-hmm. That was probably in the 60s or 70s?
It was probably 70s.
Yeah. And then there was, remember Morgana the Kissing Bandit with the huge breasts that would run out on the ball field and kiss the pitcher? And they always escorted her off, and it was funny, and everybody joked about it. But it wasn't like today where they take those issues seriously. Like, if you coming on the field, we make the assumption you're going to try to harm somebody and we're going to tackle you and put you in handcuffs. Back then, everybody was like, oh, here's Morgana, and she's going to... And, of course, the boobs are flying all over the place.
Girl, no.
But got famous for, sort of an innocuous thing, right? There's a poll on Reddit about the dumbest reason someone has become famous in the U.S. So this is specifically in the United States, not in the world. Even though some of these people may be famous worldwide, they started or got their start here in the United States. The number one answer, by the way, was Balloon Boy, which I found odd. I thought a Kardashian would take the number one spot because they disgust me, that entire family. Kim Kardashian.
They're real, though. That's a real legit. They got businesses and makeup and clothes and all this stuff.
And I'd be fine with that, but they leaked a sex tape and then rode the coattails of that into this, whatever it is. But
Balloon Boy, huh?
Balloon
is he
Boy,
even
remember
famous,
him?
though? I mean, is he?
Well, it was a while ago, so a lot of people may not remember the whole Balloon Boy thing, but it was a lie, right? The parents lied that the kid got taken away by balloons. It was a hoax that went viral when a couple claimed their 6-year-old named Falcon was trapped in a homemade balloon 7,000 feet up in the air. There was a balloon, but no boy. He was at home hiding in the attic. So they hit him and made this whole scam. And so according to a poll on Reddit, people think that Balloon Boy was the dumbest reason someone got famous in the U.S. The poor kid had nothing to do with it, probably. He probably was like, yeah, play along. My parents didn't realize
he's 6. I doubt it. He had anything to do with it.
Number 2 on the list, very recent, actually.
Oh, you got to give him that huck to and spit on that thing.
I don't know. That was just good summertime fun, wasn't it?
I didn't have a problem with it at the time. It was fun. But then she went too big. She got too big for her britches. She didn't talk to anybody for a couple of weeks. We couldn't find anything out about her, remember? There was the one hat. She did a hat with a guy, and I think it was her uncle, right? And so he got the official Hawk Tua hat and was trying to cash in on it. And she just was kind of persona non grata for a while. And then she got on a podcast, and she was doing a podcast.
I don't think there's anything wrong with
then there was a meme coin, and it apparently went bad. And she disappeared again for several months because there was threats of lawsuits and all this stuff because her coin, Bitcoin or whatever, went bad for people, for investors. But the Hawk Tua girl, just, some drunk party girl in the streets of wherever the hell, Nashville, just answering questions.
Somebody stuck a microphone in her face, and she said whatever she wanted to. I don't think there's anything.
This one I agree with. I don't know if you can even call these guys famous. You know who they are, the Island Boys.
Oh, I'm an island boy. I'm a just island boy.
All right, this is, these two idiots. There's a third one now, apparently. A third island boy.
Is it one of their babies?
No, he's much taller. It doesn't look like he's officially island boyed up yet, but he's hanging out with them in their videos.
All right.
But yeah, they went viral on TikTok by doing whatever it is they're doing. Honey Boo Boo, number 4 on the list of people who got famous for stupid reasons.
The dance, that was Dance Mom? No.
Yeah, so I think she was like a dance kid, and they had a reality show, Mama June, and then who knows, all the stuff. Number 5, just a step below Honey Boo Boo, is every reality TV star, right? So these people who get famous just by being on reality shows. I would say especially the reality shows that don't really serve any purpose. The Teen Moms, the Road Rules and Real World Challenges. But back in the day, like, Real World, when it first started, was like a true experiment to take a bunch of strangers and put them in a house and videotape what happens. And then it turned into whatever it is now, which I have no idea. I've never watched it. Number 6 on the list is the Cash Me Outside girl.
I was waiting for this
Dr.
one.
Phil.
Catch me outside. How about that?
I was waiting for that, but she's like legit out too.
Well, the moment she turned 18, she started an OnlyFans, and she became a multimillionaire.
And a musician.
Well, yeah, I guess there's that. I mean, Kardashians come in at number 7, famous for her dad being one of OJ's lawyers, and then, of course, the sex video with Ray J. Octomom making the list at number 12, having a bunch of kids, 8 kids or 14 kids or however many kids. Octomom had 14 kids. 8 at one time.
8 at one time.
Yeah. Then she did porn because she had to feed her babies.
Yeah.
Singing badly on American Idol. They don't show these anymore, really, but this was a big thing when it first started.
They take the worst.
William Hung, of course, the most famous of them all, with his version of She Bangs from Ricky Martin. But yeah, they say that
they used to just purposely have someone on, one person on there that was just terrible. And
they had several. They would ridicule them.
Yeah.
And it was funny until somebody killed themselves. And then they said, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore. Because we're essentially bullying people live on TV.
We're setting them up.
Right.
To just bully them. And
right. They're obviously not going to make it. They don't have a chance. But for every one of those, there was also the guy on the talent show that sang Drowning Pool, and everybody loved him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the chick from England that went out there and Susan Boyle, didn't look like anything. It looked like somebody's mom. And then she went out there and had a crazy, awesome voice.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, but obviously these contestants early on American Idol, they were just there to be, fodder for entertainment. Eating a bunch of hot dogs, number 15, is one of the dumbest ways to be famous in America.
With 62 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes for his 16th win, I give you the number 1 ranked eater in the world, Joey Chestnut.
Yeah, again, this is a Reddit poll about the dumbest ways that people have become famous in America. I don't know, dude.
I don't know.
Science
it's a
behind
very
all that?
American thing, I think, the eating all the hot dogs and the competitive eating.
And he's done it time and time again.
He's a true winner, is what he is.
Well, he has a craft. It literally is. I mean, like, it's not just like I was hungry and ate a bunch of hot dogs. It was, I practice and train, and I am the legendary Joey Chestnut. So, yeah. And last on the list of the dumbest ways that people have become famous in America, and this, I don't know, they were kind of famous before this whole thing, but the smashing of the kneecap.
Why? They were famous. They were Olympians.
Kerrigan and Tanya Harding were very well-known ice skaters at the time. Obviously, it went more viral after the whole knee smashing thing with Galooly, and the guy had a great name for a criminal, Galooly,
I thought the penis cutting off was going to be on the list, too. But
that might have been on the list further down, but those are some of the top 15 there on Reddit of the dumbest ways people have become famous in America. We'll get to some 3 Days Grace in just a couple minutes.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Start your day with Rock Mornings.
Rockfest music from 3 Days Grace on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Probably heard that a lot of animals have a sixth sense.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to the weather. Horses and animals will freak out if there's some severe weather headed their way.
So remember I told you last week we were talking about the tornado that happened in like Black Earth Barnavold area when I was growing up?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that at that time we had a dog and she had puppies and she moved them at night, the night before, like around our house and kind of down underneath. When I woke up in the morning, I didn't know the tornado had happened, but I could hear the puppies crying because they were underneath like this overhang under my bedroom window, which is not where they were. So like you're saying, she knew something was happening and she moved them from where they were to this like kind of underneath this brick crawl space area where
And
she
everybody was
determined,
okay?
where she determined they'd be safer. So yes.
Well, there's a woman in Minnesota. Her name is Brianna Bortner, and she says her dog knew that she had breast cancer before she or her doctors did.
So from the time that I found the lump to the time where I got the phone call that said, hey, this is breast cancer, my dog started just to become like really fixated on my breast. I had always heard of the stories of where people, say that their dogs could sense things, whether it be pregnancy or death or illness. And so I was like, oh yeah, this is not good. Once I got the call that's confirmed that the lump was cancerous, I was like, oh my gosh, like he's known.
Oh my gosh.
She found a lump, was waiting on a biopsy, says she knew it was cancer when her cockapoo, Moki, started to become fixated on her breast. She did 16 rounds of chemo, finished up her treatments about a year ago. She's doing great. Moki, obviously, getting some treats, but crazy, right?
Very.
In other dog-related news, do you remember Valerie?
Fantastic news off the bat. We have seen her. We've managed to narrow down the search area to one specific point where we can feed Valerie. We've got cameras in place. We can monitor her. She's looking really healthy, and from here on forward, it's just little steps, and we'll continue to work away to get her more comfortable.
This was the miniature wiener dog that survived 16 months in the wild in Australia.
Oh, yeah, by itself.
And they saw her on the trail cams and stuff. Finally captured her. They finally got her. They had been trying to capture her for a while, and she had been avoiding capture. She'd been living 16 months in the wild in Australia.
Little tiny thing.
Miniature wiener dog. Not just a wiener dog, a mini wiener dog, like the little ones.
Like 5-6 pounds, maybe?
Yeah, tiny. Wildlife officials announced last week they had finally managed to catch her. Her name is Valerie. She ran off while her owners were camping on Kangaroo Island near Adelaide back in 2023. She somehow made it 529 days on her own in the wild. And they were finally able, they knew it was her because of the collar, the pink collar. And they finally were able to capture her.
I can't even believe that.
And now she's going home to be with her parents.
I don't think I could last 6 hours by myself somewhere in Australia. You know what I mean? Like off in the bush or whatever.
All of the things that are out there that are deadly.
No.
All of it. Yeah. Valerie.
Little baby.
Not a baby, a full-grown puppy. But
I know,
a
but
full-grown
little
dog.
tiny
But a small dog, yeah.
Oh.
Crazy. Got some wage war and some live coming up in just a bit.
The storm is really what everybody's talking about, and we won't know until later. Strong winds develop this afternoon. Rain moves in, and then we are all in that extreme potential for 1 to 2 inch size hail, strong damaging winds. Tornado warnings or, watches and warnings could pop up this afternoon. I think it's, just everybody's got to be aware that this is a thing and could be happening.
We'll get to that wage war in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find the daily podcast at rockmornings.com.
Thankfully, our fridge is nearly empty as we leave for Nashville on Wednesday. There won't be too much in the fridge. We have some leftovers from yesterday. Had a really nice anniversary lunch. We went to...
Did you?
Pepin, Wisconsin. There's a restaurant. The coffee shop that my wife goes to, Bean Juice, owned by a good friend of ours, Teresa, suggested this place to my wife. And it was funny because that's where we went to get Remy, our puppy, back in December. And I said, are we going to get another dog? And my wife said no, because we were going the exact same way. And so we ended up going to a place called Harbor View Bar and Grill in Pepin, Wisconsin yesterday for lunch. They have a set menu and changes a little bit every week. And they're only open, I think, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But beautiful drive, beautiful little restaurant. Yes. They've got a beautiful view of the water, and the food was out of this world. It was so effing good. Couldn't eat it all, though. It was a large portion, which was nice. So plenty of that left over for tonight. And then I think we'll probably make a pizza tomorrow night just before we go to Nashville. So thankfully, there won't be a lot of stuff in my fridge.
I spring cleaned my fridge and my freezer on Saturday morning before I went grocery shopping. So it was starting to get kind of a little bit more bare. So took the time to, wipe everything out, take out all the drawers.
Some tips for saving room in your fridge. If you've got an issue with things just kind of piling up and piling up and piling up, if you're looking to save some room, you're looking to make things a little more tidy, in your refrigerator, here are some tips. Use square or rectangular storage containers. You're wasting space if you're using anything that's circular.
Mm-hmm.
Tough to do that all the time because a lot of baking dishes tend to be round.
Well, yeah, or just mixing, pasta
Mixing
salads
bowls.
in a big bowl.
Yeah. But the bowl, obviously, all that space that's around it
I understand
is
where they're coming
wasted
from.
space. Stack everything that you can.
Mm-hmm.
Using all the vertical space in your fridge is key.
Yogurts,
sodas
cream.
sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sauces if you've got
eggs. If I have more than one dozen, they sit on top of each other.
or like if you've got like a couple of different salsas maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or like you've got a sour cream and a cottage cheese. Put them on top of each other.
I'm on it.
Take food out of its packaging. Boxes bulky and unnecessary. So if you've got a box with a bunch of smaller packets in it, think of like a Capri Suns maybe, something like that. The box tends to take up more space, especially as you're getting down to the nitty gritty of it. Like if you've got a 12-pack of soda and there's only 2 cans left in there, you might as well take the box out.
Mm-hmm.
Skip organizers like baskets. All they do is take up extra space. Take advantage of the walls. They make suction cup caddies that are very versatile and awesome to use. Organizer that works because it doesn't take up previously used space.
Mm-hmm.
And then last but not least, some tips for keeping your fridge in check. A lot of your vegetables do not need to be refrigerated. Some people put everything and anything in the fridge just because they think it'll keep it longer. But potatoes, onions, garlic, and tomatoes can all be left out on the counter.
Yes, they can.
Even after you cut a tomato, you don't have to put it in the fridge.
I don't.
I mean, I
fridge
would put it in a container of some sort.
I know you don't need to put cherry tomatoes in the fridge, but those go in my fridge.
Yeah, we don't have it. I mean, there's only the 2 of us, so we don't know. Our fridge is never stuffed to the gills to the point where I can't just put stuff in there anyways. But yeah, cherry tomatoes, I tend to put in there.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen, eating up all the food.
Yeah. Some ways to save some room in your fridge. How stuffed is your fridge right now?
Pretty stuffed.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I cleaned everything out on Saturday, and then we went to the grocery store. And yesterday I made a pasta salad, so that's a big thing. I made a cucumber salad. That's a big, right now I have a few large containers that have to be downsized.
Do you have a second fridge?
We do.
In the basement?
We do.
Like a beer fridge? Or is it more like an overflow?
The freezer is full of meat and pizzas and stuff like that. It's not a chest freezer. It's a regular fridge and freezer, but that's for storage meat and pizzas. And then the fridge itself is mostly like sodas and waters and energy drinks and Gatorades and
the drink fridge in the basement.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, we've got the main fridge in the kitchen, side by side, fridge freezer, and then we've got a small like dorm size fridge in the laundry room, which has got nothing but beers and beverages, and also the suet that my wife has for the birds in the backyard. There's a box of that. And then there's a kegerator, which obviously is kegs and beer in there. So, yeah. Much like this place, we have too many goddamn fridges. I don't have one in the garage, though, because I don't have
too many. I
don't have the room
just
for it in the garage.
The amount of the perfect
amount?
I couldn't. I wouldn't want to do with less.
All right. Wage war now, Blur.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Weekdays, 6 to 9.
Rock Mornings, Brian and Gene, and the NFL Draft. Wrapping up this weekend, the New England Patriots selected Mr. Irrelevant, the final.
Yeah, did they really? They got the last one?
Yeah, the final pick in the NFL Draft. They selected Memphis cornerback Kobe Minor. Said the Mr. Irrelevant moniker that comes with being the last pick in the NFL Draft fits him well. He said, "To me, I love it because I've never been a highly recruited guy. I've never been a top guy." Said that after hearing his name called with the 257th selection, it's fuel to my fire. The big topic of discussion over the weekend was Shedeur Sanders dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping, and then there was a prank.
This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
It's been a long wait, man.
No, for sure.
We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir, let's be legendary.
But you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Ready to go.
What does that mean?
How you going to ask us what it means and you was on the phone?
You heard that?
He said you're going to have to wait a little bit longer.
Sorry about that. I don't know what that was. Nobody got this number, though.
Man, he just got trolled, bro. They tripping now, man. Now they crashed out, bro.
One of his buddies or whoever was there knew right away, man, they just got you trolled. And that's exactly what happened. The son of the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, admitting to the prank and the call that he made to Shedeur Sanders during the NFL draft,
That's
apologizing.
Mean, isn't it? Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, based on what the Falcons said, they're not going to punish the defensive coordinator for what happened. It wasn't really his fault. My guess, and I don't know exactly how this works, but I'm guessing that the guys that are predicted to go in like the top rounds maybe have a special phone that they only use for agents and stuff like that. Not like they probably have multiple phones, obviously, for family, friends, this, that, and the other thing. And that phone is
only for this purpose. That's
only for this purpose, so only a certain amount of people know the number. So if you're going to get a call from someone, they have to know that number. And, of course, that number would have been on that iPad that Jeff Ulbrich had, and his kid apparently was over at the house and saw it and decided he was going to prank Shedeur. The NFL now looking into the situation, specifically how Sanders' private number leaked. The Falcons said in a statement that the 22-year-old Jax Ulbrich wrote down the number from his father's open iPad while he was visiting his parents' home to later conduct a prank phone call. The caller told Sanders, "We're going to take you with our next pick, man, but we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Sorry about that." He, of course, says, "What does that mean?" There was a lot of talking heads talking about this guy. I heard nothing but bad things about him when he went into these interviews. I heard that he just didn't do well.
Challenging? He was difficult to deal with, or what?
I heard that in a lot of the formal interviews, he didn't do very well. And he didn't, he was kind of like, I don't want to come here and I don't want to play for this team, and that kind of attitude and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm not saying the guy isn't a talented football player, but the stuff that I read made it sound like this guy was kind of a malcontent and a little difficult to deal with. And once you sort of get that moniker, it's hard to get that around, that off your shoulders there. But yeah, the NFL draft wrapping up over the weekend. Billions of people at Green Bay. I had friends that went. They were telling me all about it. Said it was a swath of people, just a sea of Packer fans, left to right. Very expensive beers.
Oh, yeah, of course. You're going to have all of that. Exactly. Did you see all the Packer selections, I guess, and that Baron Sorrell with his family? And
saw Clay Matthews, out there.
John Williams, and just the support and the family, and the grandma's reading the note, and the parents crying and them crying.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like they'll be
dog,
good additions.
Very excited dog.
Yeah.
I saw the golden retriever jumping up and down.
Good draft class, it sounds like.
Also, I had mentioned this, I think, maybe a week or two ago, but I'm concerned for the well-being of Bill Belichick.
Dude, I saw I saw clips of it. He was not answering. We're not talking about that. And Bill's
24-year-old Jordan Hudson, his creative muse, as he writes in his book.
Make sure that's the...
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
Ooh.
No?
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, so...
She's wearing like just a sweatshirt, or so, I don't even know. I was like, what is happening? Apparently,
no, she had leggings on.
She wouldn't leave. It was an interview with him.
She's running the show there when it comes to him. And he sat down for an interview to talk about this book that he wrote. And Bill's never been very good with the media. He's always been a bit contentious. Doesn't give him more than he wants to give him. He's very guarded with what he says. Nothing was different about that. Even with the questions about Robert Kraft. Very awkward, that situation. Didn't mention Robert Kraft in his book at all. Like, just wrote a book about his tenure in the NFL and winning and all, and didn't mention the guy who, obviously that relationship ended in a bad way. But Belichick there with his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, and CBS Mornings host Tony Dokoupil learned that you can't ask Belichick about his relationship with Jordan when Jordan's in the room.
Met. For
specifically that part, but
I thought it was on a plane or something.
No, this was they were sitting down. It was an interview. It was taped.
No, I mean, I thought they met on a plane.
Oh,
That
was at least that's the story.
Well, then it's already out there. Just repeat it if that's the deal.
I think, Belichick doesn't want to talk about this stuff. He's uncomfortable talking about it. She knows that, and so she's playing the bad guy, but I still worry that there's some elder abuse going on here because it's just a little bit much. The emails going to her, the attempts to take down negative comments on Facebook, the weird Ric Flair robe thing.
Well, isn't it every email he gets from the team he's talking, he's
going
coaching?
to her. Yes.
Yeah.
So
like he's the head coach.
She's filtering everything, yes. I just worry that maybe there's some elder abuse going on there. Somebody got to look out
of it.
For Darth Hoodie. Somebody's got to look out for him.
No, he's just she's a lot in that 60-minute interview.
Well, and it's frustrating as the American public because we're so used to people who are celebrities and are doing weird things like this. They want to talk about it, right? They want to put it in your face. And
I think it's because he was doing this all on his own for years, and now he can't talk about it.
No, it's not even that. I'm talking about the relationship.
Yeah,
I'm talking about old guy, young girl, very famous football coach, some sort of girl out of nowhere that nobody ever heard of. And all of a sudden there's this relationship and it's been going on and it's weird and we want to ask questions and they're like, no, we're not answering any effing questions about this at all. And so we're like, okay, well, that's what everybody wants to talk about. But thanks for the book.
And we'll see on the sidelines of the football season. I mean, is she going to be on the field?
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I'm sure she's going to be
joint coaching. I guess is that
I'm sure she's going to be there for game day. I don't know. I don't think she'll be on the sideline with him coaching, but she'll be doing something. Come game day, she'll be managing something.
The clips are weird.
I'm telling you, I told you.
It's weird.
Lincoln Park in a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Kill Switch, engage with I Believe on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Bad news, happy music a bit later on. The friggin' sports as well. I got a text from Autumn. Said, answered FaceTime call with no apology or asking permission. Per Rick Neuheisel.
Is this the prank
Shedeur
thing?
Sanders, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information about this whole thing out there, but the kid prank called him. He answered the phone.
Awful.
Yeah. And and Mel Kiper went crazy afterwards. He blew a gasket. He had him going like in the, I think, top 5. Kiper did. But Kiper's been wrong about a bunch of picks.
Uh-huh.
Well, look, you do it for as long as Kiper's done it, you're going to be wrong about but he's been wrong about some top picks. Guys like Johnny Manziel and Ryan Leaf and dudes that totally flamed out.
So is this, will there be a lot of kickback for this? Will this, is there
I think the NFL is going to look, the NFL doesn't really want to make itself get in trouble. You know what I mean? They're not going to be like, hey, but I think, look, word gets around. These coaches all coach on the same team eventually. They all, they're just jumping from here to here and there to there and everybody knows each other. And when this guy comes in and you got to deal with Dion and you got to deal with this kid's attitude and the kid comes in with a bad attitude and isn't all that great, isn't like the most talented quarterback out there, then yeah, I could see there being some kind of blacklisting going on.
So it was the Saints that he thought he was talking to, but he really wasn't, and then it was the Browns that ended up taking him. Is that yeah?
Well, and even in the Browns, I don't know if it was actually his pick, but the video that I saw, they took him, they announced that he was getting picked, and only certain members of the staff that were in the room were clapping for the pick when it was made. There was other guys that were in the room, where they make all the draft pick decisions, that weren't clapping. They were just
resigned to the fact that this is what we got.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But the coach's son's going to get in trouble, and that coach too, won't he, for leaving that? No, not necessarily.
Well, the article I read this morning, the Falcons said they weren't going to do anything about the coach. It wasn't really his fault.
No,
the guy's working, and the kid happened to be there, and you have faith that your kid's not going to do something like that. I'm sure the kid's going to hear about it from dad, but he's also, I think the kid's 21. So what can you really do? Take away his Jaguar or something?
Yeah.
So. But yeah, it's going to be a rough go for that guy at the office. You know what I mean? Hey, dude, did you lock your iPad? You got that thing in a box. It's Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Thank you, Autumn, for the text. The exact age when your unhealthy bad habits catch up with you. You know what it is?
54.
You're way past.
Oh, am I really?
Yeah. They say 36 is apparently the exact year when your bad habits start to catch up with you. Researchers say they have pinpointed the exact age when bad habits like smoking, drinking, and not exercising start to trigger your health problems.
All right.
And that is 36 years old. Scientists tracking the health of hundreds of children born in 1959 until they were 61 years old. So this is a lengthy study that's been going on for a while now. They found that those who regularly smoked, boozed, and lounged around in their younger years ended up sicker and more depressed. And on average, those people's health started to decline at the age of 36. That's when it all sort of just went down the slide. One researcher says that our findings highlight the importance of tackling risky health behaviors as early as possible to prevent damage from building up over the years. Enjoy the partying and debauchery into your 30s, but as long as you start asking for gym memberships on your 36th birthday, start turning things around, you'll be all right.
Make a switch.
I'm way past 36. I'm screwed. Again, bad news, happy music later on.
I'm watching that storm system, by the way. Minneapolis
Looks
and
like
north
really
of
north
that.
of us is going to get really
north
whacked.
Already is, like, as of this morning.
All right. It's Pearl Jam.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. More from Brian and Gene is coming up.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. A very interesting race occurred this past weekend. You know, you got the Kentucky Derby coming up.
I do. Oh, I do know. Yeah, that's Saturday.
Is Lori just all up in your tree right now about the Kentucky Derby?
No, but I mean, we're making plans. Obviously, it's Saturday. It's after prom. Pictures get taken, and
So you got
we're
to
going
plan
out.
down to the nth minute. Is the
Going
deal?
out. We got big hats. I got to put some wagers on some stuff this week.
Who's the favorite, the betting
I
favorite
don't
at the
even
Kentucky
know.
Derby
See, I never
this
know.
year?
I just guess names.
You go with names?
Yeah, that sound fun.
Is there any?
She does the whole thing.
Okay.
Though. She knows,
Oh,
and
I
she
know.
knows like people that are involved, breeders and owners and trainers, and so she has a lot more.
Well, the Kentucky
stock
Derby
than I do.
is this Saturday.
I know.
But last week, there was an even more interesting race that occurred in L.A. on Friday night. It was the world's first ever sperm race.
Oh, we talked about this.
We did talk about this. The world's first ever sperm race.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is to determine a champion. One more time, UCLA on top, USC at the bottom. This is for all the marbles. Send the swimmers through the finish line. Oh, my God. And this looks like a tighter race. They're neck and neck. Tristan with a slight lead there. And we'll see how they make it through these turns now. Remember, that big ball is the halfway marker. Sometimes having more swimmers doesn't mean that they're faster. These are head-to-head. We might have a photo finish. This is going to do it. Tristan Milker explodes through the finish line. USC wins.
A lot of descriptive language there. And yes, the guy who won, his last name is Milker. And he exploded.
All over the finish line?
At the world's first ever sperm race that happened in Friday night in L.A. between a student from USC and another student from UCLA. Crosstown rivals, right? They did 3 heats, and they were tied after 2. USC ended up winning the rubber match. The whole thing was live streamed on YouTube.
Come through the microphone.
Yeah, they were coming through the microphone.
They
Gene.
sure were.
And you could even place bets on this whole thing at polymarket.com. That's POLY market.com. People wagered a combined $329,000 on the world's first
Are these
ever
two
sperm
kids
race.
sperm?
I'm not kidding.
Gonna have to come from the back.
Thank you, Doc. That's the only way to come from.
Oh
is the
my
back.
gosh.
The footage apparently appeared altered, however. The footage they showed left some people thinking that the whole thing was staged. It showed a guy's swimmers racing across a 2-millimeter wide track, but it kind of looked like CGI. Plus, they don't usually swim in one direction like that. They're just sort of going
I thought they went like this. Is
all
it a
over the
petri
place.
dish?
You can watch it online if you want to get a better look at it, but all I could say is I watched it this morning and whatever.
God, he starts to come and then he pulls out, and
that's the move, Troy. Thank you very much. Organizers of the world's first ever sperm race claim the results are fully legitimate. You got to be careful when people start wagering on things because
I see what you're saying.
If there's any sort of, improper stuff going on and people are wagering a lot of money, then there might be some ethics getting called into question here. They even seem to suggest that the footage might not be the real deal after the race. The people that put on the world's first ever sperm race said they had comparisons between 3D and raw footage that would be published to verify the results. So it sounds like they're taking the footage of the actual sperm race because it's not that exciting to watch, apparently, and sort of transferred it into some sort of chat GPT type thing that spewed out.
It made it a little bit more interesting.
A little more, linear, right? Start to finish, as opposed to just sort of
going around in circles. And
the guys behind spermracing.com claim they're trying to make it as a real sport that turns fertility into a competition.
I didn't come
oh my
first.
God, why would they do that? I don't know about that.
Didn't come first. And they really went for it. They even had a press conference. They had an undercard, and they had a halftime show by a rapper named Ty Dolla $ign, whoever that guy is.
The samples were freshly collected shortly before the race and then stored in an incubation chamber at body temperature, then placed into a centrifuge, and then pushed the cells to the bottom so they were able to be loaded onto the 2-lane track. Huh?
Did I say 2 fingers? I meant 3. They added a page to their website teasing a new product called Sperm Racing Tryouts. It says you'll be able to buy a kit to test your swimmers and see where they rank on the amateur leaderboard.
There are places in Wisconsin where nobody comes.
That's unfortunate, Mitch. There's a guy in L.A. who apparently writes articles for newspapers and magazines and all sorts of other stuff, an independent writer, went to the sperm racing, said it had a real WrestleMania vibe. The crowd was apparently mostly USC students. So it also not only had a WrestleMania vibe, but a college party feel. Frat bros hanging out. There were apparently staged fights between some of the contenders, a bunch of obviously crude jokes, and the loser got slimed, white slime, much like the Nickelodeon Awards.
Green slime or it drops from the ceiling down on you.
I wonder why it was white, Gene.
You should just stop letting him come around you.
Just solid advice.
Commemorative T-shirts and hoodies were $35 and $55 if you want to.
The world's first ever sperm races on Friday in L.A. and a student from USC winning it. His last name, yes, was Milker.
Mm-hmm.
There also was apparently a fan who showed up in a wiener costume that was a big hit with the crowd, and they had confetti cannons that were shooting out confetti that was cut out to look like sperms.
I hope so.
He could be coming from your backyard.
I hope so. I hope there was a mascot. I hope so.
Oh, my God. $329,000, though, got wagered on the first ever sperm races.
So the winner got a big take? I mean, like,
I don't know I have no idea what the winner got. I have no idea. All I know is that a bunch of these wagers are for the people to earn money, not for the winner.
I know,
for the winner.
but
I don't
the
know.
winner's got to be able to.
I'm assuming there was some
this.
sort of prize, right? You have to.
You donated to the cause.
He did. That's one way to put it. World's first ever sperm races. I think I'm good with that.
Is that all you need to know about that right there? And that you need no more?
It happened, and I'm glad I know that it happened, and now I can move on with my life.
Yeah.
Is there an egg race, possibly? Like how quick they drop out of your fallopian tubes?
No, that's not a thing.
Or wherever they come from?
No, because you can't preload those. You know what I mean?
Wow.
You can't.
I don't. Dude, we're having races with sperm. Who knows what's possible at this point, right? No?
I guess if it helps him pay for school and he gets a fancy car out of the deal or something.
Spermracing.com. Can we just stop lying, though, and acting like we care about fertility issues?
Just say, look, we're trying to make some money. It was a novel idea.
And that's fine. Just be that. Be, if you're a cat, be a cat. If you're a tree, be a tree. Don't try to be what you're not.
Steve's over there at his penis.
Right. If
costume.
You're just trying to pretend like you give a rat's ass that dude's sperm is faster than another dude's sperm, then have at it. But don't try to sell me on the whole we want to increase awareness about fertility issues. Come on, man. You got cannons shooting out sperm confetti, and you dumped white goo on this guy's head when he lost. What about that screams fertility awareness? No?
No. T-shirts, Brian. Did you hear me? $35.55.
That's an expensive T-shirt, honestly. But, 40 years in the future when we get to,
that's why
idiocracy.
The first of all,
when we get to idiocracy times, you know what I mean? Like, we may be able to bust that one out. Sell that at a vintage store. I was there the first time they raised sperm. So there's that. It's Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Bad News, Happy Music is coming up next.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
You're about to enter a beautiful, exciting, wonderful new world.
A cockroach living in your nostril. Now that's just nasty. Add in some haven't pooped for 30 days.
Poop is raining from the ceilings. Poop.
And sprinkle in some hashtag Florida Man for flavor.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man quits his Burger King job, steals all of their chicken nuggets.
It's bad news.
Bad news.
With happy music.
Let's rock.
Well, the city of Lufkin, Texas, which is apparently 120 miles northeast of Houston, Texas.
Lufkin?
Lufkin. Lufkin. They must have solved all the crimes that they have in that city because they're going after a guy who apparently left a couple of Easter eggs, plastic Easter eggs, around town with some weed in them. A real-life Easter bunny.
You know what? There is no Easter bunny.
He's giving it away?
It's just a guy in a suit.
An accused drug dealer in East Texas now facing charges after police say he filled at least 5 plastic Easter eggs with weed.
Yeah.
And hid them for his customers to find.
So, Ahab, type on my doobage?
The guy's name is Avante Nicholson. Cops found out about it after he posted photos of the eggs on his Facebook page. He told people that whoever shopped with him that day would get hints revealing where the eggs were hidden. So a little buy one, get one later, if you can find it. A scavenger hunt. But you got to come make a purchase first before you get your clues to find the medallion.
With the free, so you have to buy some, and then you can find some for free. There's like a bonus. Buy and then get some.
Well, this guy must not have very many shoppers because police found 4 of the eggs. The 5th one was found by a guy and his granddaughter the day after Easter in a park. Most of them were hidden in parks all throughout Lufkin, Texas. Cops found one behind a Motel 6. Seems very random.
He's just dropping eggs full of free weed and then using that as an incentive for people to purchase weed.
Altogether, the eggs had just over a quarter ounce of weed in them. Cops still trying to track Avante down, but they must have solved all the other crimes in Lufkin, Texas, because this is what they're wasting their time on. Some guy
found the eggs.
Put a little bit of weed in some plastic eggs and left them out there for his customers to find.
Or a random kid, like is the case with the grandpa and the granddaughter.
She'll be fine. Weeds never hurt anybody.
No, come now.
Think of the children.
Could be laced with something you don't know.
Could be. I did think I smoked laced marijuana in high school. But I was just high. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
That's what could be happening here. He didn't know. Don't know.
If it had been his customers finding the eggs, it probably wouldn't have been a big deal.
He's also probably not got a lot of customers because nobody took him up on that.
What's the margarita? 2.5, 1.5, 3.5?
It depends, but yeah, that's
tequila, triple sec, and ice.
Lime juice.
Lime juice, right? I don't drink a lot of margaritas, obviously, but 3.5, 2.5, 1.5.
That's Shaw's recipe.
Okay.
You can blend it with ice, or you can put it on the rocks, salted rim if you'd like.
Salted rim. What about accoutrement? Is there any sort of like garnishes, like a lime wedge?
Sometimes there can be a fruit piece on it. You can also do more spicy, more like a
tagine,
like more of a yes.
Okay.
As your
so you get the sweet and alcohol along with the
jalapeno kind of little kick to it.
All right, I've seen them with the Corona bottles in them, the little tiny Corona bottles. What about a snake? You ever had a margarita with a snake in it?
No, and I don't want one. Like it came on purpose or it was an accidental snaking?
Woman in Virginia says she was traumatized after she took a sip of her margarita at a Mexican restaurant and found a live snake inside the margarita.
I leaned in to take a sip, and I noticed that something hit me on the forehead, and I looked at my husband like, what was that? And when I turned around, I saw the snake in my margarita. And I just jumped away from the bar at that point. It was moving. It started wrapping around my straw. They grabbed the stick trying to get it, and I was just like, please don't let it go in my purse. Another man that was having dinner on the other side of the bar came, and he grabbed it and took it out. I left shaking like I was traumatized.
Okay, how big a margarita and how big a snake?
Well, I don't know. She was at the Patron Cantina. So it's probably one of those sizable goblets, you know what I mean?
And it must have been a little...
They had just finished eating at the bar. She felt something hit her in the forehead. What was that? Went down to take a drink, and then bam, baby snake in her glass. Also took a picture of it wrapping itself around her.
I'm sure.
Her straw. She, of course, was not having it. And an employee tried to remove the snake with a stick, but then another customer just grabbed it and took it outside. No word on what kind of snake it was. The restaurant apparently offered to move her to a different booth, but she just got up and got out of there as fast as she could. They did comp the meal, of course.
Magnificent specimen of pure Alabama black snake.
I would hope.
But ain't too goddamn good.
Yeah, but there's a snake in your drink, your meal's free.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm fine with that, and I wouldn't even ask for it. I would assume it would be offered, and I would take it, but I'm not going to, whatever, snakes.
Baby snake in my drink?
The owner of the restaurant said the snake must have gotten in through the air conditioner. It apparently fell from the ceiling, bounced off her head, and landed in her drink. Her name,
does that make me feel any better?
Her name is Carletta Andrews. She thinks the place might have a snake infestation.
You think? They're falling from the
she's
ceiling?
Not going back. Look, one snake fell out of the ceiling. It happens.
Does it?
Yeah. I mean...
You know tons of owners of businesses. Have they ever told you about their snakes falling from the ceiling problem?
No, you pay someone not to put it on Facebook.
It's not a problem.
Of all the animals that are going to fall into my margarita, a baby snake from the ceiling, probably not worth it. Better than a raccoon or a rat or some kind of vermin, some kind of possum, something that's hissing with teeth. Some kind of baby snake, whatever. Pick it up, throw it outside.
Probably a problem, though.
I'm not drinking the rest of the margarita. I'm getting my meal for free. I'm still going to go back. How good were the tacos? I mean, that's really what determines whether or not. I mean, if the service is crap, but the tacos are really good, I'll go back. But if it's the other way around and the service is great, but the tacos are crap, I'm not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And if a snake falls out and hits you in the head and ends up in your margarita, whatever.
I have had it with these snakes on this plane.
My guess is there's another place in town to get a margarita, too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Might try that.
Let's say you're at your favorite restaurant, though.
And a snake falls from the ceiling?
And a little baby snake falls out and ends up in your drink, and they take care of it and comp your meal. You're still going to go? It's your favorite restaurant. I get it. I mean, don't go, whatever.
Okay.
It's not like they put the snake up there to get Carletta.
They didn't, I don't think.
Oh, watch this. In other animal-related news, there's apparently a woodpecker that's causing some serious damage in Massachusetts. More than 20 vehicles have been damaged by a woodpecker.
Oh, I saw this.
It keeps breaking windows and mirrors. They say,
mad at people.
No, they tend to be more aggressive during mating season, and it's probably attacking its own reflection in the mirrors. It thinks that it's getting some horny woodpecker, loving, and that's not the case.
We seem to have a vandal in our neighborhood. I'm describing him as, 18 to 24 inches tall, wearing black and white with a red hat. The woodpecker showed up and landed on the windshield wipers of the RV in our yard and was looking at his reflection. And we're like, you know what? I bet he was the one that damaged the mirrors as well.
A woodpecker expert says this time of year is breeding season, so all these male birds, not just pileated woodpeckers, but all birds are getting into pileated.
That means it's a bigger one.
Getting into a very aggressive territorial courtship display. If they're seeing their reflections of themselves, they don't understand it's a reflection. They think it's a competitor. So he's attacking what he thinks is a competitor.
Sure, he's going after
to be first. He's trying to win the sperm race.
He's confused, though. I mean, how many cars does he have to smash before he's like, that's not a bird? A lot.
Maybe they can get a female
Do
bird in there
damage.
quick and solve this problem.
Bring one over.
You know what I mean? Like
Drop her off.
Point them in the right direction. Is there some kind of pheromones they can get? Some woodpecker pheromones and lead a trail to where the other females are? Instead of 25 cars.
I know that he's not giving up. He's really
broken mirrors.
Feeling the spring.
This one is just add this to the list of things or reasons not to fly. Ready for this one?
Sure.
Southwest Airlines from Philly to Chicago had a rough flight the other day. No, there wasn't a lot of turbulence, but there was someone who apparently, as the plane was landing, decided to strip down and then poop on her seat in the plane. Duca. Yeah. A female passenger on a Southwest Airlines flight to Chicago got butt-ass naked and pooped on her seat as the plane was landing. Officers called to Chicago's Midway Airport Saturday. Flight 418 from Philly arrived with one passenger shocking the cabin by taking off all her clothes and emptying her bowels on the plane seat. Southwest said in a statement, quote, "Our teams are reaching out to those on board to apologize for the situation and any delay to their travel plans."
I'm the party pooper.
Yeah. She just got butt-ass. You got to get butt-ass naked to poop on the seat, or can you just pull them down? Can you pull your drawers down?
What?
I don't know, dude. I get it. You can't get up when the plane's descending, right? You got to stay in your seats. I get it. And so maybe, look, when diarrhea happens, sometimes you just, they got to update that. They got to update that policy, I think. Because sometimes the plane could be descending for 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
For sure. Longer than that by the time that they start and you descend and thing.
I could be fine. Philly to Chicago is what? Hour and a half?
It's probably not that long of a flight.
2 hours?
Maybe 2.5.
Yeah. So 20 minutes on the way up, another 20 to 30 on the way down. So I really only got a hour and a half window to do the pooping. And maybe I'm not feeling it right then. But as soon as the plane starts going down, my bowels get affected by that. The change in barometer and all that crap makes things move around.
What's that smell?
Aren't you trying to get attention, though, of somebody then that's on the flight and be like, I need to get to the front of the line. There's a situation. Or something.
Oh, I'm not hiding it. But you know how people are. People are weird, especially women.
Yeah, they're very
that's guarded
very
with their
weird.
poop.
Yeah, but so the option as opposed to saying something is.
Have you ever spoken to anybody besides a doctor about your poop?
No, but I've never been in a situation where it's either have a conversation or take my pants down. And
it's not that hard. You just say, "Hey, stewardess,
exactly.
Something's happening, and I can't be in the seat." I think there may have been some mental health stuff going on because the nakedness is really what sells it for me. You know what I mean? Like, if you're just going to poop, then you're just going to poop. But taking all the clothes off, but if you know you're going to have a messy one and you don't want to get your clothes covered in it, maybe removing all of the clothing, then you're allowed to put it back on and be clean.
Poop again.
He called the poop.
Yeah. Nothing is more important to Southwest than the safety of our customers and employees, and we appreciate the professionalism of our flight crew.
I'd rather not be able to crap for days.
Wasn't clear what happened to the passenger. Plane was taken out of service for cleaning. You got to get in there with like a fire hose, right?
Oof, I don't know.
Just take the seat out by the bolts?
Maybe that. Pros. That's some upholstery cleaning and bleach.
I think maybe what they should do is like more pods, like those pods in first class. Like you get in your own pod and you're stuck in there and it's got your own personal toilet and you can't get out. You're just in it. And you won't be able to bother anybody else. You can poop to your heart's content.
A lot less space on a plane, though.
I don't know. We got to figure something out on these planes.
What is it about good sex that makes me have to crap?
Maybe that was it. Maybe she had some mile high situations going on. Last but not least, boy, we had a lot today. I didn't have time to get through it all. A guy in Florida, hashtag Florida man, he apparently stole some booze from a store, tried to outrun the cops, and then offered one of the cops a drink from his vodka spritzer as the cop drove by.
Stop. They give you a drink. That's it. Show me your
Oh, tasing.
Ooh, they tased him?
Right?
All I wanted to do was have some drinks with you guys. Florida man facing charges after he offered a Highland County deputy an alcoholic beverage during a bizarre pursuit. This is on Saturday. Richard Christopher Smith of Miami stole several items, including several alcoholic beverages, and walked out of the Spring Lake Market. Shortly before the deputies arrived, they said Smith was in a black minivan driving circles around the store. Look at me, I got your vodka seltzers over here. Then he sped off, launching a pursuit ended several miles later in the parking lot of a business over by the airport. During the pursuit, deputies say that Smith held a can of Kettle One vodka spritz out the window as he drove past the deputy, trying to get him to stop, telling the deputy, quote, "I was just going to give you a drink, that's it." Smith then apparently tried to ram a couple of patrol vehicles in the midst of getting all four of his tires flattened by some spike strips.
Okay.
Yeah. He was driving around on flat-ass tires. Smith eventually tased and charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, battery on a law enforcement officer, 2 counts of resisting arrest, DUI, a refusal to submit to a DUI test, and petty theft as well.
It's a lot of charges against him.
Yeah.
For a neutral.
Really escalated there. You know, the guy was just driving circles around the store with some vodka spritzers, offered one to a cop, and the next thing you know, he's getting tasered and handcuffed.
Cops is filmed on location with the men and women of law enforcement. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Cherry ones aren't bad. The pineapple ones aren't my favorite. I don't really like that. I could do the cherry. Lemon lime are all right. It depends on the flavor.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Took them from the market, made a scene.
Yeah.
But was willing to share.
Florida man rides again. Oh, thank you, Florida. Lots of content. Bad news, happy music on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll get to our daily check-ins after Metallica.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Start your day with Rock Mornings. Call.
Hello.
Email.
I tried emailing you.
Text. So many ways to check in with us. Check. We rely on you guys for traffic updates, requests, and all sorts of other stuff.
Check this out.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Hit up the website for all of our contact info. Listen to the show live on the website. Daily podcast is on there as well. Got a text from Sam in Chippewa. This was on Saturday night at like 7:45. When we're not here.
No,
FYI.
I know. Saturday night at 8 o'clock, we're not here.
Thank you for the text, though, Sam. Appreciate it. But I happened to see it this morning when I came into work. Brian and Gene, May 4th is National Firefighters Day, according to the reliable internet. And I know Brian's and my love for Bruce Hornsby's The Way It Is.
Oh, here we go back to your piano.
Also knowing Simpson's love for classic movies, he has to have seen Backdraft, so he must know this great song.
Yep.
I have an expectation, or I have an appreciation for other genres as well. Keep up the good work and give a shout out to our first responders on the 4th, which, by the way, is a Sunday. We're not here on a Sunday either, Sam from Chippewa. I appreciate you listening and sending texts at 7:45 on a Saturday night. But
that's what he was thinking.
Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Also wants to hear some A7X, but I do appreciate a good movie. I've seen Backdraft many times. I also love Bruce Hornsby, The Way It Is, and I will always shout out first responders and firefighters because they save lives.
Thanks for the text.
No greater cause.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sam. Appreciate it. Doc, trying to figure out, expect a text from him later on today. We won't be live on Thursday or Friday. There'll be a best of because I'm leaving on Wednesday. So you're here on Wednesday by yourself. And then Thursday and Friday we'll be running a best of. And so he's trying to figure out how to do a racing report. And I said, take it up with Gene. Text from Sherry in La Crosse said, what about the pants on the ground guy? Yeah, that was
another one of those. Wasn't that a...
That was Idol. Yeah, it was the old guy. Mm-hmm. The old black guy came on, pants on the ground, looking like a fool with your pants on the ground. Yeah, I don't think they made fun of him. I think they appreciated his performance. And, I mean, he knew he wasn't going to make it on the show. But I think he wanted to make a statement. about people with their pants on the ground.
So that was kind of like interesting ways, or maybe the dumbest ways that people have gotten famous.
Yep.
We didn't talk much about on that list. I didn't see anybody who gets interviewed by like news that's on the spot, and then they
Hawk to a girl. That's what happened with her.
Well, that was just a guy walking around for interviews. It wasn't necessarily like what's going on in the story. You know, hide your children, hide your wife. You know, like things like that. Like
the bed intruder guy. Yep. Well, apparently. Yeah, we've had a lot of those. Whistle tips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, leprechaun. Got a text from Jacob, my nephew, who's listening all the way from Maine. And I said, hell yeah, vacation land. And he said, could you not tell it was Jacob? No, I knew it was you. I have your phone number in my phone. And apparently Jacob is his father keeps telling me, he's like, dude, Jacob's so excited to come out and see you. So Donut, my best friend, and his kid Jacob are coming out here in a couple of weeks to visit us for a week. They're taking the train from Maine all the way out to Chicago, and they have a 5-hour layover in Chicago. And Donut's been trying to look for stuff around the train station that's close by they could walk to, you know. And I said, don't go too far, dude. I said, I don't know. I've never spent much time in Chicago, but, you know.
Oh, there'll be some time to get some food, look around. You can see the Bean. He can probably take him to see the Bean. And
I don't know if they'll have enough time to get to all that. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly where the train station is in regards to all those other things. But, yeah, so I am excited, Jacob. Thank you very much. I could tell it was you. I appreciate you listening, bud. Now go back to school or whatever the hell you were doing.
Something you're supposed to be doing right now.
Not goofing off listening to me on the radio. Thanks for all the correspondence. Appreciate it. Just got one from Pam. Said, Brian, I'll say hi if I see you in Nashville. We're driving as well, leaving on Wednesday. She sent in a picture of the two of us at Oktoberfest from 2021.
So you're going to recreate that photo if you see each other in Nashville.
I don't know. I got a big-ass Stein, and she's got a bottle of water. I think we're living in different time zones here. Yeah. But I look forward to, I'm sure I'll run into Pam or some other people that I recognize from around here at the Nashville show this week. Again, thanks for the correspondence. Best of luck this afternoon and this evening. Again, batten down the hatches, be prepared, as Frankie McDonald would say, and we'll talk more about it tomorrow.